Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. Today is Wealth Wednesday. My name is Keely. I'm excited to be here with you today as your host. Our quote of the day today is, "Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are doing." Leaders Retreat. Mark your calendars. Get your 1-star, 3-star, 5-star, do what you need to do to be present at Leaders Retreat. We're going to be going to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, August 20th through the 24th. Every Monday, we have our Founders Live. That is at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That's your opportunity on a weekly basis to connect with our CEO, Bob Snyder, where he will share announcements, important announcements that the company might be having, any new changes that would be good to know about. There's also a story of the week, recognition, as well as a training. So make sure that you tune in. You can do that by becoming a part of the Renatus Founders Live Facebook page, which is where it is broadcasted every Monday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Monday nights, we have our National Study Group. Right now, we're making our way through the Essentials courses. That is at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The Renatus Helios app, if you haven't downloaded this, make sure you do so. There's a lot of great features. Every single day, they're uploading a brand new money mastery to the app. You can also share that with your guests and share some inspiration with them on a daily basis, which is awesome. And then we also get notified when you have a guest checked into an event, as well as when you are paid a commission. Lots of other features, plus they're continually adding new things to it as we go. So make sure you get that app downloaded and give it 5 stars. Every week, we have our Private Capital Masterclass. That's Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. This is for those who are watching their private capital classes, who of course have the AIT courses, and you've got questions or you're ready to start going out and having conversations, or perhaps you're already having conversations and just needing some support with that. So bring your conversations, your wins, your questions to the masterclass. Daine Clark is facilitating that, and he has had massive success with private capital and building that for his business, all from what he learned on our classes. So make sure you're tuning in Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Then we have our Dream Call. That's Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. So right after this call, it's a daily real estate action mastermind where we talk all things real estate investing. So watch your classes, get out and take action, and make sure that you're bringing your wins and your questions to the masterclass so you can inspire others and learn from others. And then we've got our daily team call that we're on right now. It's Monday through Friday from 8 to 9. And we talk all about marketing, business, personal development, and mindset. I love these morning calls. I'm so grateful for all of our trainers. So glad that you're all here with us. OES.com. To be a part of the Dream Call or a part of the Private Capital Masterclass, we do ask that you're a part of the Elevate OES. And so you can sign up for the OES through this website. And there's also a really helpful short video on the website that talks about what the OES is, the optional event subscription, and why you want to be a part of that, how that helps support the team. So do check that out if you haven't already. If you are looking to introduce your guests to the Profits Education, a great way to do that is to get them in front of Scott Rowe. Scott Rowe on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, he does an intro presentation for the Profits Education. So do tune into that. You can find that in the Helios calendar. Of course, make sure you get registered and register your guests. Every Wednesday, we have a virtual fix and flip house tour. Sometimes it's a short-term rental, long-term rental. These are so much fun. People get to see what we are doing today in today's market with real estate, of course. So make sure that you're tuning into that. It's a really powerful exposure. We get to see all kinds of different profits, of course. We get to see acquisition strategies, exit strategies, and all sorts of different courses being put to action. So make sure you're tuning into the Wednesday evening house tour. That's at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Usually goes about an hour. Every Thursday, we've got our Super Bowl of events. We've got lots going on Thursdays. So I just mentioned we have our house tour on Wednesdays. That is in English. However, if you're looking to introduce any Spanish-speaking guests, you can introduce them to the house tour on Thursdays. It's offered in Spanish. And then we have our Pillars of Wealth intro presentation in English. And then at 4 o'clock, we have a corporate onboarding session for those who are newer and just getting onboarded. That's a great way to get them introduced to what happens after you get started, because there can be a lot of different ways you can go. So that would really help gain some clarity for your guests and for your new students. So that's the only thing that's at 4 o'clock. Everything else is at 7 o'clock. So you do get to pick and choose what you want to go to based on your goals. So we also have our velocity banking study group, as well as a couple of real estate study groups, multifamily and short-term rental. That's every Thursday at 7 p.m. with the exception of the corporate onboarding at 4. We do record these morning calls. You can find them in 2 places. We're on Facebook Live. Our Facebook page is Renatus Team Elevate. You can network with the team there. There's a lot of important announcements, as well as you can ask questions and catch these recordings. So do make sure you're a part of that Facebook page. Lots of great content there. And then we also have these recordings on our YouTube channel, which is Elevate Renatus. And if you're not aware of what the Zoom up calls are, our Zoom up calls are something that we did for the last several months. There's over 100, I think just 101 different interviews. They're only 15 to 20 minutes long. And what they are different interviews for students from across the country. And we talk about where they were before Renatus, why they got started, how they got started, and what they've been able to accomplish. So this is a very powerful way to get your guests acquainted with what's possible. So the YouTube channel has all of those Zoom up calls. Just type in on YouTube, Elevate Renatus Zoom up, and you will find all of those Zoom up calls, as well as you can find these morning trainings on there as well. So lots of great content on the Elevate YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook page. So do tune into both of those. Today is Wealth Wednesday, so we get to learn from Daine Clark. Before we bring out Daine, let's shift over to our money mastery exercise. We'll go through the quick video together, and then there is a call to action at the very end. So we'll spend just a couple of minutes. You can type in the chat your thoughts on the call to action, or if you want to keep it to yourself, that's perfectly fine, but we would love it if you would share with us. So let's shift over to that.
This 20-something kid is signing one of the biggest artists of all time by doing this one thing. Jerry Weintraub's legendary career spans generations. He had Lew Wasserman and Colonel Tom Parker as mentors. He put Elvis on the road, Frank Sinatra in Madison Square Garden, and George Clooney in Ocean's 11. No one could work a room like Jerry Weintraub. He was a master at networking to get his way. Jerry Weintraub had a wild desire to experience all life had to offer. He ended up with the fame, wealth, and property, but mostly he had friends. He knew everyone. He was everyone's guy. He was the guy behind the guy. He was the guy behind the guy behind the guy. He was already successful when he had a dream one night. In that dream, Weintraub saw a marquee lit up against the night sky. The marquee said, "Jerry Weintraub presents Elvis at Madison Square Garden." When he woke up, he called RCA Records. He was told to get in touch with Colonel Tom Parker. Parker was one of the most hated men in show business, but when Jerry finally met the Colonel, an epic friendship was born. The two men got each other. However, it took a while for that to happen. Jerry called the Colonel every day for months. He got no response. When he finally got through, the Colonel said, "What do you want, boy?" Jerry told him that he wanted to promote Elvis. The Colonel laughed and said, "Who are you, son?" Weintraub laid it all out. While Elvis had been making movies, the world changed, the market grew, the opportunities multiplied. He wanted to bring Elvis back on the road into bigger rooms for more money than ever before. The Colonel held Jerry off for a bit, then gave Jerry a kind of test. He said, "Listen, son, If you can hand me a cashier's check for $1 million by this time tomorrow, you've got a deal.
All right, let's shift over to our trainer of the day. Today is Wealth Wednesday. I'm excited to be here with you, and I'm more excited that Daine Clark is with us today. Each and every Wednesday, we get to spend some time with Daine Clark, who has had so much success in this business. I'm so grateful that he spends his time with us to share with us what's working for him and to help us move us along in our businesses. Before Renatus, Daine was working 2 jobs. He was working for Apple, and he was also a roofer on the weekends. For Apple, at the time, he was actually really shy. And he was in the back of the store counting cell phones as opposed to out on the floor working with customers, and just wasn't really much of a people person. And as a roofer, that was something that he had fallen into because that's what his dad did. And as a gentleman with red hair and fair skin, being in the sun all day was definitely not his cup of tea, and he knew that he needed to make a change. So what he did was he looked into some different opportunities. He had learned about real estate investing and actually took a little pause and thought about it for a while before he decided he really wanted to dive in. So after some time, he finally got started with Renatus. And what he did was he listened to his mentors, he watched his education, and he plugged into the system. What he did was he applied velocity banking to his first transaction, where he used that as leverage to get into a duplex, where he lived in one side of the duplex and rented out the other side. Now, when we fast forward to today, now Daine has raised over $22 million from investors to go towards various transactions. And a secret to that is consistency and frequency. So not only is Daine killing it on the real estate side, he is also a fantastic marketer and is recognized by our CEO, Bob Snyder, as a key leader. He is on the PIT team, meaning he is in training to be on the President's Advisory Council. And we are very, very fortunate to get to learn from Daine this morning. Good morning, Daine. How are you? Do we have Daine with us? I actually don't see Daine on the call, which is a first. So let me send a quick message to him and make sure everything's okay. In the meantime, continue to jot down your thoughts on what we just did with the money mastery, and feel free to share in the chat what your thoughts are, or feel free to come off mute and share what your thoughts are.
I could share. I am analyzing a deal to acquire a portfolio of rental properties in Wisconsin, and it is a big stretch goal for me. It's outside of my comfort zone, and I'm looking to network with investors to partner with on the deal, or to just work through the analysis and how to raise the capital to acquire it. Looking for 2.5 million.
Congratulations. Good job.
Congrats, Seth.
That's super exciting. I saw that you wrote in the chat that you were looking to pick up your next 11 rental properties. Super exciting. Thank you for sharing. And then we have a lot of other chats in, or messages in the chat. Feel free to, any of you who shared in the chat, come off mute and let us know. I see we've got Jennifer and Alvin. Feel free to share what's going on in your mind.
Hey, this is Alvin.
Hey, Alvin.
I want to say congratulations to Seth. I think Seth, was that you on Bob Tierney's call yesterday?
Yeah, that was
the 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a couple of guests on there, so they really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it too. So I really, I just think it's so awesome that we have a community where you can have other people to help you analyze deals, and then through your connections raise the capital to get to acquire those deals. So I just want to say, hey, congratulations! That was awesome.
It's
I'd
the
like to
power
do
of
more of that,
networking.
what we did yesterday, because Yeah.
I'll also share. I really didn't have anything come to mind, so I just wrote the question down as another powerful question to add to my tool belt.
That's awesome. So like, what would you say is one of your next goals? Like what's the next level for you in your business, Charles? And then what's one action step you can take to get yourself to that next level? So first, what's one of your goals?
Just to start making more money.
I love
and
it.
get out of basically the position I'm in.
Okay. And I know you're out there taking action. What kind of things are you doing for your marketing? How are you networking with people to build your business?
Mainly just roadside signs and Facebook right now.
Awesome.
Those are what I've got going right now.
Very good. Is there any different types of lead sources that you can add to that? Because I know I'm still working on building my lead sources. I want to get up to 6 or 7 that I'm managing on a daily basis. Facebook and roadside signs are awesome. I've done those for years. Have you ever tried anything like maybe Craigslist or Meetup?
No, I haven't tried either of those.
Okay. One thing I would recommend is to maybe reach out to Yas and Umer. I know that Yas is really, really great with her marketing skills, and she's got 8 or 9 different lead sources going on at once. And so she would be a really great person to reach out to and maybe get some ideas on how to increase your lead sources.
All right, that's a good idea.
Cool. Cool. Well, thanks for coming out and sharing. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And this is Jennifer. So I started Renatus a couple of years ago and stopped when we had some major family traumas. And now I'm back. And so I am working on networking with other team members that are local in our area. I'm also attending as many of the classes and workshops that I can. I have a great revenue, or not revenue stream, a marketing stream with multiple different areas, including, all the Facebooks, all the social medias, all the LinkedIns, meetup groups. When I'm marketing in other territories, I'm also joining their groups, and then making sure that I contribute when I am in those areas. So not just being a silent observer, but actually commenting, actually making, asking for information. If I have a deal that I'm working on and I'm just working the numbers, asking the experts for their thoughts. The Craigslist ads are wonderful. I've got a lot of buyers to add to my buyers list as well. I've also found a couple properties through them because they couldn't take them. And so they reached out to me, but the deals weren't good with when I actually did the number and had the appraisal come through. So that was a great learning lesson for me to reach out to other people and ask, who is a good appraiser? Who is a good contractor to give me a really good bid? Who do you use that's a really great title company? Who do you use that's a really great real estate agent that's not just sitting there, that actually participates and works? So the more questions that I ask, the more involved that I get, the more I see. My opportunity is creating time between managing my husband's trucking company, working my 2 JOBs, and doing real estate while taking care of my husband who has terminal cancer. And so I have a lot on my plate, but the motivation is awesome. And I love learning. And my ICM was Craig Smith, who brought me in initially. Mm-hmm. And I worked back in the days when Mitch was around and got a lot of experience. So now I'm just back in and looking to network with all of y'all. I have a million zillion contacts. So I do bring that to the table, and motivation and great speaking skills. So if you ever need anything from me, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Really, really powerful share. Thank you, Jennifer, for coming out and sharing that with us. I love that you're learning from your experiences. And one thing that stood out to me too is that you're just really engaging with a lot of these people that you're networking with. So I really think that's powerful. You're providing value, asking questions. So really powerful share, and definitely make sure for those who are listening to reach out to Jennifer for any resources that she just mentioned. Thanks again, Jennifer. I see that Mr. Daine Clark has joined us. Good morning, Daine. How are you? Daine, are you there? Might just be getting his audio connected. Thanks to everyone who came out and shared. Really, really appreciate it. And I definitely love these money mastery exercises. They've been super powerful. Hey, Daine.
What's up, guys? I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. I was worried about you.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was so funny. I got to work and I was doing some stuff, and I set an alarm on my phone even, and for some reason it didn't go off. And then somebody called me, and it was so funny. It was a butt dial on accident, and it made me look at my phone. I was like, oh my gosh. So anyway, sorry guys. Sorry I'm late. I'm glad I finally made it though. But all right, where are we?
We were just going over some of the shares from the Money Mastery, so take it away.
Cool, way cool. So really, I would love to go over from nationals. Let's talk like biggest takeaways. Let's talk. Oh my gosh. Oh, thanks, David. You were the butt dial, actually. I'm glad you're on. But yes, go ahead. Let's talk biggest takeaways from nationals. I would love to talk about that. Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, how many people went? I'm not gonna ask actually how many people went. Hopefully all of us went. But Charles,
hey, Daine,
go ahead, brother.
So
yes, go ahead, my friend.
When you were doing your whole role play thing, you asked a question where you asked the guy, the people that I hang out with, they invest, $2,000 to like $28,000. Does that scare you? And the guy, of course, said no. What if they say yes? How do you respond to that if they say yes?
So if they say yes to, and let me bring everybody up to speed on that. So I've got this. I don't know if you want to call it methodical. I think somebody said methodical during nationals this last weekend, but I've got this methodical process, if you will, where I like to ask people like, hey, are you interested in real estate? How long have you been looking into it? What have you tried? What have you been doing to prepare? And so all these different things that I like to lead up to, if you will. And then when I'm finally ready, I like to say, cool, well, most people that I work with either fall in they have like, $50,000 or more. They want to invest in real estate super passive. They want to be a little more active, and they know what the heck they're doing. They've already done, 5, 10, dozens of deals even, and they know what they're doing. And really they're just looking for like an added network, right? And so a lot of you guys can see, a lot of you guys might be able to see like where I'm leading in here, like what I will be able to give them through Renatus, of course, but what I'll be able to give them, right? So second option is they want to be more active. They want to get their hands wet. They want to analyze deals. They want to get involved, but they already know what they're doing, and they don't necessarily want like hand holding, or they don't really want like, to learn something new. They're just like, hey, I just want an increased network. I want to find deals. I want to find, Clayton, get everybody. Love that. Yeah, they want it. They're active. They already know what they're doing. They want an increased, better network. Okay. And then the last one is they also want to be active, but they're just like, I don't know where to start. I need help. I need to take a season to learn. And I need help, is the key point there. And so I ask them, so which one do you feel that you are? And then when they answer, I like to say, cool, like most people that I'm working with and most people that I've seen become successful chose to take a season of learning where they actually invested in themselves. And I've seen people, and I've worked with people even, that have spent anywhere from $2,000 to $23,000 to have the best experience in their season of learning possible. I myself spent $23,000 to get educated, to take my season of learning and get a lot of hand holding. Like if everybody knew how much hand holding I have really received to get to the point where I am today, I mean, some people would be like, really? I mean, there was a lot of help there. And if you were in the panel, I talked about the type of hand holding. Right? Not every bit of that was from necessarily a Renatus instructor or a Renatus, member or a Renatus student. A lot of that was from attorneys and CPAs and title agents. I can't tell you how many times I've been doing a deal and, I went out and I made the offer and somebody accepted it. And I'm like, here you go, title company. And my title agent's like, Daine, that's not how you do it. I'm sorry, you're cute. No, she didn't say that, but I almost felt like she was patting me on the head, like, sorry, that's not how this works, or my attorney, or my, or my CPA, right? Lots and lots of hand holding. So that's the context that I say that. And so what Charles is asking is, have you ever had anybody say no? Or in other words, yes, I should say, $2,000 to $20,000, $22,000 would scare me. And so then I asked him this question. In fact, I did have this, I think on Monday this week, I had one of those. And I said, all right, first of all, why would that scare you? And then I asked him this question. I said, well, tell you what, because most people that I've worked with have, or I should say it this way. Of the people that I've worked with, there are a lot of people that have, quote unquote, made it. And I'll tell you this, every single person that has chosen to invest in themselves, right? Let me make sure I make that clear. Not every single person that has chosen to invest in themselves has, quote unquote, made it, right? Some people make gobs of money. Some people make, a little bit of money. Some people make their money back, and some people don't, right? So I can't promise you that if you go that route, that like everything, pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and I can't promise that, but I will promise you this. Of all the people that I've met that did, quote unquote, make it, they did exactly that. They invested in themselves. And they whether it was small and it took them a long time, or whether they're just like, yeah, give it to me. I'm gonna learn everything. I'm gonna be a sponge, right? So whichever way they went, everyone that has, quote unquote, made it invested in themselves. Now, let me also say this. If and Charles, I'm role playing here for you. I'm sure everybody's appreciative of this. Now, let me also say this, that when people decide that they want to invest in themselves, right? And I legitimately say this. In fact, the gentleman that I was doing the role play with, I didn't have time to say this in front of everybody, but I said this word for word to that gentleman. I said, everybody that has made the decision to invest in themselves, even though they didn't know where the money would come from, I've noticed that things line up in their life for them to be able to perform on that decision. right? And notice what I'm saying here. You know, this is what I told the gentleman that everybody saw at Nationals. Notice that when you make decisions, the world aligns with your decision. And so I said, before you make any kind of a decision, remember that that's what's going to happen. And I said, and it will go both ways. If you decide, you know what, this is not for me, this is not what I want, this is not, not in the cards, guess what? The world will align with that. And 6 months from now, a year from now, most likely, you'll be coming back to me and saying like, Daine, that was the best decision I ever made to not do this. That's how it works. Or if you say, you know what, let's do this. And you say, I'm going to decide. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to decide today that I'm going for it. In 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to say, you know what, that was the best decision I ever made. In fact, how many of us on this call, we got 91 people on the call. How many of the people on this call, if I were to ask you, I think there's a way you can like raise your hand or something like that, or chime in the chat, whatever. How many people on this call have been in Renatus, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, a year, couple of years, would be able to agree that you're just like, yeah, best decision I ever made was joining Renatus, right? Yeah. Even if you haven't made, like I said, all those different things, made your money back, quote unquote, made it. Everyone that joins and is sticking with it would agree, right? Look at all these people chiming in on the chat. Absolutely, best decision they made, and they know that this is how it's going to. This is how it's going to. This is how they're going to make it, if you will, right? Okay, now Charles, let me give you the final blow that helps this gentleman say, all right, because he was one of those. He was like, that's a lot of money. Right? And so I told him that. Notice that when you make a decision, that the world aligns. Okay. The last thing I said most of the people that I've helped get going, I've actually shown them where to find the money to pay for it, to where they didn't have to come out of pocket. And so when I'm able to find the money for people, now obviously everybody's different, and we'll just go through a bunch of scenarios, bunch of stories, and you can say, oh, Daine, I'll have what he's having. Oh, Daine, I'll have what she's having. Right? That's my favorite way to do it, is just to tell stories. And if there's a way that you're like, dude, I could do what that person did, then great, we're in. Right now, again, I haven't even mentioned Renatus yet. I've just said like, hey, there's money involved, right? But those were a couple of really good things that worked very well on the very sale that you guys saw there at Nationals. Make a decision because the world's going to align, no matter which way you go, right? And I loved setting the stage that way. I loved setting the stage that way. That like, hey, if you decide to work with me, the world's going to align with you to work with me. If you decide not to work with me and not do real estate and not partake in all the awesome things that you've been seeing, me and the people doing, then the world will align with you. In other words, life is going to suck, without saying that. But yeah, so those are the couple of things. Make a decision because the world will align. Other one is, I can't promise that you're going to make it, but everyone that did make it did start this way, that I know at least, that I've met at least. And then the last one is everyone that chose to invest in themselves. I showed them a bunch of ways that other people have paid for it or used other people's money to pay for it to get going. If I could show you that, would you like to know what that entails? And then every time I say that, like for example, on Monday night, I said, if I can show you how I've either myself or other people have paid for it, not out of their pocket, would you want me to show you? And would it be the difference of like, holy crap, I need this, right? And he said, yes. I said, great. Let's schedule a meeting to sit down and chat. Okay. Anyway, long answer. bunch of different things though. You don't have to throw up on them. All of that did not come like bam in one, in one sitting, in one paragraph, right? That was over the course of chatting, maybe 1 or 2 appointments even, but, as needed, I should say, as needed. One thing that you'll notice that I like to do is I like to have just all these different, what would you even call that story? I wouldn't even call that a story. I like to have all these different answers to questions like that. And then as I'm listening and as I'm listening to somebody, then bam, I'll pull one and I'll give it to them. Right. And so I'm listening to them with all these different, let's call it ammo, all this ammo, all these tools. And then when they say something, I'm like, ooh, they need to hear this. Bam. Right. And here's a cool thing, actually. When you choose to, again, back to the decision, when you choose to live like that, that you've got the answers and that you can pull those answers as needed. You believe that you've got that capability. Guess what happens? You get more of them. The world aligns with you. and it's weird. It's weird. Some of the things that I've said in the middle of an appointment, I pulled out of thin air, felt like, where I was like, I've never said that before. But that was really good. Let me write that down. I'm going to share this on my Wednesday calls. Okay, happens all the time. When you believe that you are a creative individual and that you can pull from, we can call this spiritual, we can call this a universe, whatever you want to call it, it all comes from the same place. It's just how we all label it. But if you believe that you are an individual that can pull like that and give people what they need to hear at that very moment, guess what? The world aligns with you. Yeah. All right. More questions. Or more comments. Let's see. I have the same. They says, what steps do I need to do an education to know what you are doing? I have the same ID. Awesome job. Thank you for sharing. I wonder if there's a way I could mass give. If I could mass give my own what I've watched in Renata's. I think there's a way I could do that. But it would take me some time to basically put together all the classes that I watched and even when I watched them and make that mass available with just an easy link. So Robert, remind me, here, I'm gonna make a reminder. And I will have this ready by Wednesday of next week. And so that's a great question though. So let's see, let me make a reminder. Make available my own class curriculum. Cool. Okay, I've got that. Robert, don't let me down. Don't let me forget next week. Because I know exactly how I'll do that very quickly and put that together. Let's see. Kim, Varha, Jennifer. So somebody else either come off of mute. I'm just going through comments for questions or comments or our next talking point here. Daine would love your recordings of your videos you did during the compliance section. They were incredible. So I don't actually have those. Corporate has those, and I'm pretty sure that they are going to make them widely available, and so they're coming out soon. I don't know when. Question. But yeah, I know it's a priority that they want to do that. Go ahead, brother.
Besides Steve.
Steve. Ooh,
yes,
that's
sir.
A cool spelling, man.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sure you get that all the time.
Yes. So one of my questions for you, because I actually saw you said that most of your connections lately have been through word of mouth of referrals. But aside from that, when you started early on, before you got to where you are, what were you doing to network with people, and how did that work out for you?
Yes, that's a really good question. Do you really want to know? Do you guys really want to know what I did to make my first, let's say my first 100,000?
Yeah.
Dave Deal knows what I did.
I
Is Dave
did.
Deal still on? Dave Deal knows what I did for my first $100,000 in Renatus. So Dave and I actually did this together. We used to go out in the middle of the night. We'd get up at 11. Or in other words, Dave would show up at my house at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night, something like that. And we would handwrite signs that, had our, this was back when compliance wasn't a thing, and it was like the wild, wild west. It was like anything went. You could be like, become a real estate millionaire, put it on a sign and phone number. Like, this was back in that day. I wouldn't recommend that. We got in trouble.
We put out a lot of signs and got in a lot of trouble. So don't do that.
Yeah,
but we did do it.
And not just, I mean, obviously corporate at the time didn't care because things were working. But then like we started getting like all this news coverage. We get stopped by cops. I mean, they started trying to track us down and did Alden actually go to jail? Did he actually serve like one night in jail or something like that? I feel like I remember somebody went to jail. Needless to say, we don't do that anymore. Now, there are still areas that you can put signs, and corporate actually has specific messages that you can put on signs. But that's how I made my first $100,000. I would go in the middle of the night from 11 p.m. We'd get done around 1 or 2 in the morning. And, we would put 130 signs out every single like Tuesday night or Wednesday night. I forget what day it was, but we picked a day and we did it every week. Do I recommend that? No, but let me share with you why that's what I did. Because when I first got started, I was so afraid. Again, we could go back to like Charles saying, if people are afraid of money, that's one thing. But if people are like me, if people are afraid of communication, or if people are afraid of conversation, which I was, the world aligns around what they choose their life should be like. And so my beginnings in Renatus were just that I struggled. It took me a long time, a lot of, felt like sleepless nights. And whenever Dave wasn't available, I would have my wife drive our infant baby, sleep in the car seat, in the back seat, and I would sit in the passenger seat with all my 130 signs. And my wife would drive me around, and baby slept in the back. I would jump out every intersection, put signs out. Did I recommend that? No, because there's easier ways.
Hey, Daine, can I jump in for a sec?
Go ahead, brother.
So I think the biggest thing too, man, is it's not necessarily even just the signs, right? It's picking something that you can go do with somebody else. Because those memories are some of the best memories I'll have for the rest of my life, right? And so I think just from the team aspect, like if you can rally a couple people to do some activity with you, that's what keeps you engaged. That's also what makes it work, is because you're doing the activity and it doesn't become work. Like those signs sucked, but we would do it and we had fun doing it. And so, the results produced. And so pick something that you're good at and pick a couple people to do it with you, and you'll create amazing memories. You'll be able to grow your business, and you'll have a lot of fun along the way.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Back to making the decision. You just make a decision and you go with it until you have a better option. And it took me a long time to realize that there's better options than what I was doing, right? So, for example, what am I doing now? Because Steve, I wanted to give you something that I don't know if you're willing to do that. If you are, more power to you. Believe me, you will learn something. Whether you make a ton of money doing that or it just takes you to the next level, I don't know. But what I do now, so for example, I post 2 times a month on social media, on Facebook. I post more than that overall, but I post 2 real estate posts on Facebook per month. And that's it, right? I can't remember who, I think it was Rob Sperry. Let's see. I mean, technically Rob Sperry and Steve Larson talked about this, but they just said, pick a platform, pick a schedule and do it. And so I was like, well, I'm used to Facebook being, I post once a year, maybe. And so I'm going to start small. I'm going to post 2 real estate posts per month on Facebook. And the rest, I'm going to just tell my wife, tag me in everything that you post about our family. And that's it. And these days, I actually pay my wife to do the 2 real estate posts. So for example, I tell my wife, like, hey, schedule 2 times a month to go, you know, take pictures at somebody's deal, whether it's our deal or somebody else's deal. I don't care. It just needs to be a piece of real estate and a story attached to it, which all real estate has stories. You know, all real estate deals have stories. And so she schedules 2 times a month. So for example, right after we're done with this call, we're going to feed the kids. We're going to go ship them all off to one of these real estate deals, and we're going to take family photos. You know, not like family photos like everybody smile. It's just like, yeah, we're walking through the house and taking pictures of our kids running around. And then we post the befores and afters. I mean, just go look at my Facebook page and scroll like, oh yeah, 2 posts a month around real estate with before and afters. Okay. We don't even have to go to a deal. We could just harvest this stuff off of the Facebook from our friends and their deals. Right now, never do a repost. Never like grab somebody's post and like, hey, this person. Like, no. Grab their photos, take their story, put it into your own words, and post it. And so I do that 2 times a month. That is it. And that generates intrigue. Now, some people, in fact, I'm working with a guy right now, actually, that he's like, Daine, my wife and I, in fact, I'm working with 2 people like this. My wife and I have been following you for years. And I was like, really? You never like my stuff? You never comment on my stuff? Like literally, you have never liked or commented on any of my stuff. And yet they tell me, and I didn't tell them this, but they're telling me, Daine, we've been following you for years, watching all this real estate stuff, watching all these things you're doing. And they're just like, we're in, right? We need this. In fact, it would take me a minute, but I'd be able to go back and find a text message that they said that almost verbatim. Been following you all these years, teach us. And so start now, 2 per month. When you feel like it's not working, stop thinking that way. Just remember that somebody is not liking it. Somebody is not commenting on it, but that's the person that is actually intrigued. And you'll never know until, bam, right? Like I said, I've been doing this for years now, and people are coming out of the woodwork that I never thought possible. Okay, so that's one way. Another thing, tonight I'm going to a little meetup. I love going to meetups or meetups or networking events or whatever, anything. And get this, not real estate related. You see what I'm talking about? Because when you go to something that's not real estate related and you start talking to people and you know, it's a networking event. Oh, what do you do? Oh, what do you do? And they ask you, what do you do? You become the resident real estate investing expert. And if all you do is know this much more than everybody else in the room, you are the resident real estate investing expert, right? Now, believe me, this will take time to get good at, so you have to start somewhere. But in my experience, you know, just to talk to Steve's point, you know, what worked? I mean, yeah, that worked, but I worked, right? Dave can say that was work. Oh my gosh. I felt like I had to go through 100 people to get one sale. But in the networking and by qualifying people that way, hey, you ever thought about real estate? Cool. What have you tried? How long have you tried? What have you done to prepare? Oh man, you got good credit. Oh man, you're saving up a down payment. Oh, you just got a HELOC. Let's talk. Because that person's got money. That person can be like, oh, Renatus? Like, really? Renatus can help me, you know, live my dreams? Yeah. Pull out my credit card. Or let's get this thing. Right? So that's what I do now. versus what I used to do. But you know, I think I needed that phase. I think I needed that getting out of my shell that was like guerrilla marketing. I don't know. But anyway, all right, more questions, more comments, more takeaways. Bobby Johnson says, I'm on the fence to get my AIT this month. On the fence. Dude, notice that the world will align with that decision. If you're on the fence, things in your life are going to line up, my friend, of being on the fence as to why you should be on the fence. And mark my words, like, and report back to me. But if you take, and this is not, you know, this doesn't necessarily, when I say make a decision, I don't just mean like say it. I mean, you have to sell yourself that you're like, no, I'm doing this. The AIT is the next step in my life to achieve my dreams, my goals, and what I'm going to get. Okay. And when you really decide that, and you've talked yourself into it, that's the key, actually. When you've talked yourself into your decision is the right thing to do, that's when things begin to align with that decision. And you'll notice that the world does, right? I mean, I could go through and ask a bunch of people to share, and they would be able to share, right? Not just me. Okay. But yeah, make that decision, Bobby. Tell us what you decide, though. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, that's a cool phase. That's a cool next phase, if you will. And Bobby, just like I told our other friend, that's like, hey, Daine, share with me what what you did. I'll share that with you too, if you want. Let's see, what's the website? Access Power. What's the website URL to access private masterclass with Daine? So that comes out on the 411. Actually, I think I have the link, but go to, you know what? There's a new phone number, huh? I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. So if you text the word Extreme Plus, in fact, if somebody will do this for me, text this into the chat box. If you text the word Extreme Plus, and it's spelled really unique, it's like XTREME plus PLUS, all caps, to the phone number 37373, then you'll get on a text message thread where they just send the link out like minutes before. Okay. Bobby Johnson, do you have to make payments on credit cards before you start making money? I'm thinking about upgrading AIT end of the month. What did it look like for you months after you purchased your education? So if you get 0% lines, oh my gosh, is it 9 o'clock already? Dang. Okay, well, we'll just go as long as until they kick us off for the dream call. Bobby Johnson, though, if you get 0% cards, that's what I did. The payment was 1% of the balance. So when I swiped for 20,000, because back when I bought 20, the profits was not a thing. And so, oh, you said you're upgrading. So 18,000. So let's say you put 18,000 on credit cards, then the payment would be like 180 bucks. I mean, of course, it depends on how many different cards and things like that. Because if you're, I forget what the dollar amount is, but if your card is like 2,500 bucks, sometimes they have a minimum payment of 25 or 50 bucks. And so if it's a smaller card, then obviously the 1% rule won't quite apply. But let's say it's a $5,000, a $10,000 card, and then the payment is typically 1% of the balance for the 0% introductory rate. And so what did it look like months after I purchased? So I told my ICM enroller that I wanted nothing to do with the real estate MLM, Renatus. I said, I'm buying this to do real estate. And so take a hike if you're going to talk to me about MLM, talk to people about this. And so it took me 3 months to come around, though. It took me 3 months to realize that, finding real estate deals is all about personal skills. Okay, fine. I'll do the marketing thing so that, this is legitimately my mindset. I will do the marketing so that I develop the personal skills to find deals and do real estate. And I will only market until I have the skills to do all the real estate I want. And obviously I'm here still because I've got this like new love for helping people develop. To me, it is more fulfilling to help somebody else get on their journey and even do a deal for themselves than it is to go do a real estate deal for myself. It's more fulfilling. Yeah, I make more money in real estate, sure, but it's more fulfilling to help people than just help myself and make money. And so here I am, and here I am to stay. I love doing what I'm doing and helping people get going. Let's see, more questions. Do I need to?
Hey, Daine, guys, I
Go
want to
ahead.
say something to Bobby. Bobby,
Yeah, go ahead.
belief is the most powerful thing that we have. And sometimes, you know, fear gets in the way, you know, and that, you know, that doubt is the enemy. You need to have strong belief because doubt is the enemy. And when you make a decision, you're telling yourself that you believe in yourself. And that's the most powerful thing that you have. When you're indecisive, that indecision is doubt, and that's the enemy, man. So decisions need to be quick. Otherwise, doubt creeps in, and then that's what you don't want. So just wanted to share that with you, man.
Awesome. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Keely used to do 150 signs. Man, she beat me. Oh, that's awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I love this. Jennifer, who wants to jump on and do this with me? I love seeing stuff like that. Yeah, find people. Utah, I must say this. Utah has been banned for signs. So if you're in Utah, don't do signs on the side of the road because you'll see the wrath of what we created. People will get mad. And it's not necessarily Renatus. Yeah, Renatus will get mad because they know what's going to happen with some of the local authorities. But yeah, don't do signs in Utah. Let's see. Clayton, what was your first deal? I worked and 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 worked, and I flipped a house. My first paycheck though was a wholesale. So we did buy a fix and flip, and we're working on it. And then during that time, did a wholesale deal because I was just like, I can't do two deals at once. And so the first paycheck I received was a wholesale deal. Signs work, but there are better ways. Yes, Keely. I've seen yellow signs saying work from home, make $20,000 a month everywhere. Yeah, it's just a matter of time, Maximiliano. Cool. Any last questions? I mean, we're 9:05, and I'm not sure if they're just being nice. They haven't kicked us off yet because the dream call starts. But yeah, any final questions if we want to sneak one more in real fast?
So how does Meetup work? I've heard that quite a bit.
Yeah, just download the app. Download the app, and then if I remember right, the first time you download it, it's going to ask you all these questions of things you're interested in, like anything you're remotely interested in or know remotely about. Say yes, 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 yes. Just like click them, and then just go to somebody's meetup, go to somebody else's meetup, and meet people. What do you do? Where are you from? You know, what do you do? And then they reciprocate. What do you do? Oh, I do this, and I'm starting a side hustle in real estate investing. You know, whatever it is, be honest. And you'll get some people like, really, real estate investing? You say, yeah. Do you do it too? And they'll be like, no. Jorge, this is Meetup. There's also Eventbrite. There's also Facebook groups. Oftentimes, like I'm part of Facebook groups for like mountain biking, camping, off-roading, motorhoming. I'm part of tons of Facebook groups. Like I would dare guess over 100 Facebook groups that I'm a part of. And just start talking to people and literally like get to that point where it's like, hey, nice to meet you. Tell me about yourself. Cool. Let me tell you about myself. Love it. Oh, you're welcome, Clayton. Let's see. But yeah, just download the app and go to somebody's meetup. And you might get to the point where you start your own meetup and you do something interesting that, maybe around real estate, because now you are the real estate guy, and you start your own real estate meetup, and let's say you started don't just start a meetup that just goes like, hey, come to the intro presentation. Like, that's dumb. Don't do that. But do something that's interesting. For example, if I was looking to start something new, this is exactly what I do. I would go get meetup. I would go to a bunch of other people's meetups, right? I would just like take 1 to 2 weeks and just bam, go to a bunch of other people's meetups. Take notes every time. What do I like? What do I not like? What do I want to build for my meetup? Okay. And then I would start my own meetup. And here's exactly what I would do. I would create a schedule where once a week I go from deal to deal to deal to deal. And notice that because of that, I would have to use other people's deals in the community. And so I would just create a schedule. Just go from deal to deal to deal to deal. Tell the story of the deal. I probably wouldn't talk about Renatus. I would probably just talk real estate. I would just talk the deal. I would just talk things that people needed to learn to make money on that deal. And then from there, I would say, hey, you want to talk more? And then I would basically enter them into the funnel. Only the interested ones. I would enter them into my funnel, whether that was bring them to an intro, like what Nate Lambert and I talked about at Nationals, schedule a one-on-one meeting. Oh, will you watch a video before we meet? And I do the one-on-one, right? I would enter the interested parties into the funnel. But every week I'd be going from a deal to a deal to a deal, and I would pick the same time, not same place. I would pick the same time every week. For example, the Blacks do this. Every Wednesday night, they're going to somebody's real estate deal. They don't talk about Renatus. They talk about the deal. They talk about real estate. They talk about, basically testimonials of that deal and other people's deals. And then whoever is just like, dude, I want to do this. They say, great. Let me get you some information. Because now they're just like, they've seen it. They've touched it. They've tasted it almost. Right? That's what I would do with Meetup. With what I'm doing now, the phone rings. Just those two posts a month for the last several years, the phone just rings. But if I needed leads, that's exactly what I would be doing right now, is doing a Meetup. Cool. Okay, let's do Dream Call. Oh, Keely, do you end the meeting? So you're the one. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, let's go ahead and just wrap it up. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in a week. Go have some conversations. Make a decision, and the universe will align with you. And I want to hear stories. I want to hear the stories of that. So, all right, guys, have a good one. See you on the Dream Call.